If I wanted to grow my business on YouTube, I would do nothing else but this. And I'm not saying this from theory, I'm saying this from first-hand experience. I've done it myself, but then I've also helped Nero gain 300,000 subs in 8 months, and he was able to 5x his business revenue. I've also helped Gavin 4x his business revenue in 4 weeks. So I've been able to break down everything that you need to do into a 4-step process that I call PAID. And it's a pretty cool name, you have to admit it. And the P stands for performance. A lot of people never actually optimize their YouTube profile for business performance. They just never optimize it at all, if I'm quite honest. A few mistakes that I see people come to me about their YouTube channel is some simple ones. For example, their profile picture is probably not even their face, or their profile picture, I can't really identify them. Their YouTube bio, when you go on their YouTube channel page, home channel page, or whatever you want to call it, the link in the bio is not clickable. The bio doesn't really describe or tell people what they do at first glance. Their YouTube banner doesn't exist or is something random. And if there's one piece of advice that you need to take on board if you want to get paid, is think about the performance of your channel. Think about the person that's going to click on your channel and what you want them to understand or perceive about you straight away. So if there's one thing you must do, is keep the main thing the main thing. If someone discovers you one day, they need to know that next week you're actually going to post a video relating to the topic that they saw last time. Plus, if someone sees that you're constantly changing topics, yes, it might show that you're, a personal brand, but if you take it too far, they won't be able to associate your name, your brand with anything. And that's what you need them to be able to do. When they think of your name, you want them to think of fitness, manifestation, reality creation, personal branding, YouTube, short form content, whatever you want them to identify your personal brand with, you need to make sure that you're talking about that most of the time, or you're helping people towards that goal. Now let's move on to the second thing, which is attention. The whole point of creating content is to essentially market yourself, but to market yourself and get complete leverage, you need to create these 3 types of content. And the reason YouTube is so good is because you can create these 3 types of content in one video, which is what Neuro Knowledge does, but we'll get into that in a second. And the first type of content is growth content. Growth content is literally creating videos that optimize for attention to get the most views possible. And then we have authority content. This is content where you're showing people that you are the expert and they should listen to you. And then you have authentic content where you're showing people that you're actually a human and people should trust you because you have vulnerable moments, you share your failures, you show your successes, and you tell your stories. Essentially what we're doing is getting people to know, like, and trust you. And as I said, YouTube is pretty much the only platform right now where you can do all 3 in one video. And Nero does this well. His videos are an hour long, which obviously allow him to do that. It allows him to tell more stories inside of that content. It allows him to be more vulnerable because they're an hour long. They're pretty much raw. There's nothing really cut out. Even his mistakes stay in there. We show the natural conversation that me and Nero have. I'm not saying that's something that you need to do, have a natural conversation with someone else off the camera, but that's just something that's worked for him. And lastly, these videos are actually optimized for growth. So we optimize everything for the attention. And Nero does all 3 of these things inside of his videos. One of the main things that we do is we make sure that 80-90% of the videos are optimized for growth. So this means it's going to get new eyeballs or get a lot of people clicking on the video. We optimize the title, we have multiple variations. We optimize the thumbnail, we have multiple variations. We really think about the idea to see if it's actually clickable to a mass or a massive amount of people. But then inside of the videos, because they're an hour long, we're able to add authority by showing that he's worked with a bunch of clients, showing images of clients, showing testimonials, but then also authenticity because the videos are so long. One, they cannot be copied. He's copying an hour-long video. There's no cuts or retakes once he starts going. That's literally it. And plus he's able to show his authentic side because he shares stories, whether it's when he was down bad in the hood, when he failed at something, and he tells you that he got better, or maybe things just don't get better. He's just raw and real. Now, I'm not saying you need to do all 3 inside of one video on YouTube when you create your YouTube videos. You can literally have one video that's optimized for growth and obviously value and information. You can have other videos that are more prioritizing authority. The amazing thing with YouTube though, is you might think that your video is prioritizing authority, but that authority type video could also end up being pushed out to the masses because that's what people want to see, or maybe that's the way that you packaged it. And then of course there's authentic type videos, which typically come as staples on your channel, which people will continue to watch for years to come. It's videos typically like my story, showing where you came from and showing essentially where you are now and how you got there. Other than that, you typically don't need any other solo pieces of authentic YouTube videos. Your authenticity should just show throughout your content. of the rest of your YouTube videos. By the way, if you're a business owner that wants to scale their business using YouTube, there's going to be a link in the description to work with me. I've done this for Nero, I've done this for Gavin, I've done it for myself, I've done it for Mahiz. So it's a proven method. Again, link in the description. Now back to the video. Now, one thing I have to mention before we actually move on is that ideas are gold. Ideas make everything else easier. Ideas make the packaging easier. Ideas make the clickability of the video easier. Ideas allow you to flow on the video better. The main issue with ideas though, whenever we come up with something, I think it's called creative bias. Whenever we come up with something or create something ourselves, for example, creating ideas or thinking of ideas, we think that they're all good. We think that this idea is perfect, it's got no flaws, but then when you post it, it doesn't get views. And that's because you're the only person that validated that idea. Now, one thing that I highly recommend, and it's actually a lot more common than you think, I see Caleb Rowston talk about it. He's like a massive personal branding guy in the space. Amazing content, so amazing dude. But he speaks about how he hired a creative director, even though essentially that's the role that he was doing for other people for like 16 years. And that just went to tell me when I had a client say, oh, they don't need any more help and they'll figure it out by themselves. I was like, there's no shame. Everyone needs a creative director, and I realized that's essentially what I am. I'm an external creative director. I don't come in-house to work on your channel and your business. I'm like an external entity that learns about your channel and your business, and then I give you ideas, and I also validate your other ideas that I think are good. And I think absolutely everyone needs to hire that position as soon as they can. Like, seriously. I'm sure Mr. Beast has a consultant or a creative director. I know he's in the entertainment space, but another one, Caleb Rowston, amazing guys in the education space, he has a creative director. I know technically Callaway has a creative director. He has an ideas guy. You need people that give you ideas that are not your own. Anyway, let's move on to the third part of the process, which is identity. And this is essentially you embedding your identity into your channel. And this is what makes you a personal brand in a sense. You share your stories, you share your failures. Just think about what stories you can tell. Whether it's related to your business, whether it's not related to your business, whether it's not related to your business, but you can find a lesson that relates to business. That happens a lot of the time, but just tell stories. I know Nero told a story one time about how he was benching 100 kg for the first time, and like on his second rep, it dropped on his head, and he linked it to manifestation muscle and made an entire video on that. Another thing that's part of your identity is what's your morals, what's your opinions, what do you stand for? And if you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything. A lot of the time, people just want someone to be their voice, so maybe they're afraid to say things, or they don't know how to articulate certain things, so when they hear it being articulated or being said, they want to be on your side and they want to be a part of your tribe. Another thing that's a part of your identity is who are your villains? Who is your enemy? And a lot of people get this confused. They think, oh yeah, my enemy's frustration, like my enemy gets people annoyed. Your enemy needs to be like an object or a thing. So for me, for example, my enemy would typically be someone that only uses paid ads, or someone that only posts on short form platforms instead of actually utilizing YouTube to help their business grow. I know Nero has other villains like super spiritual bros, that people that over spiritualize everything. Like you could be going on your phone and they make it a spiritual lesson. You could be eating your dinner and they make it a spiritual lesson. So essentially find your enemy and make it clear that you're not with them, you're on this side. And this is going to make people decide if they want to be on your side or the enemy side. And as a result, people are going to hate you, but people are going to hate you anyway. But again, as a result, there's going to be people that like you. And when they like you because you stand for something, they're going to love you. And the last step in this process to getting paid is dedication. And I can't stress this enough. You need to dedicate time. If you can dedicate money, that's going to make you take it even more seriously. So a few things that I make my clients dedicate to is posting volume. You're going to decide whether you're posting 1 time per week or 2 times per week. Now, there's no right or wrong answer for this. It really, one, depends on how long it takes you to produce your videos. 2, also depends on how much clients you currently have. If you have barely any clients, you probably need to do more marketing. So you probably could post more videos because you have more time to, because there's literally nothing for you to fulfill on. But if you have clients, then you're probably going to have to stick to 1 to 2 times per week. And a lot of people come to me and they're like, why don't I do 3 videos per week? I'm like, that means you're gonna have to record 3 YouTube videos every single week at a minimum, and that's going to leave you with no backlog. So if you get ill, lose your voice, feel sick, not feeling well, get busy, family emergency, go on holiday, any life happens, you're not able to post that entire week because you have no videos in the back. And if you want videos in the back, you're going to have to record 4 to 5 times per week, or 4 to 5 videos per week, which is, I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but that's exhausting. Plus, you could potentially ruin the quality of your videos, and not in the sense of editing, especially if you can outsource that. It's more of the quality of idea, the quality of structure, the value inside of the video could literally deteriorate. The next thing I get my clients to dedicate themselves to is posting days. Technically, posting days don't matter as much, but it's nice for your audience to know that you're going to post every Sunday or every Monday. But then it's also a reminder for you that you're going to post on this day no matter what. And one thing that I like to get people to do, if they're on it, find someone that they know, a friend, a family member, and say, yo, if I don't post a YouTube video every Sunday, at the end of the month, I'm going to owe you £100 for every video missed. That's going to light a fire under your ass. And it doesn't have to be 100. If you're rich, could be 1,000. If you got nothing, it could be 10. It's literally up to you. Something that's going to hurt you though. Something that's going to make you need to post those videos at all costs. And of course, you could put terms and conditions in there, like if you get ill and you physically can't record and it's too soon for a backlog, or something genuinely comes up and you post a day or two late, that's totally fine. Another thing I get my clients to do is have recording days. This is super important. It's basically systemizing everything. So I know that every Friday Nero is going to record. Now, one thing that you can do if you get busy on that Friday or on that chosen day, you can record the day after or the day before. Just make sure that you record that week. One, you get the reps in, you get the muscle going of you creating videos, and you get to improve. But number two, regardless if you have a backlog or not, you're actually still creating videos, so you can increase that backlog, or you can add to that backlog, or you can start a backlog, or you just don't end up missing an upload day. And lastly, I get people dedicated to coming up with at least an idea a day, or sitting down and coming up with a bunch of ideas. I also get them to draft out their videos. So not write the whole script, but write down the intro so you know what you're going to talk about, and then have bullet points to the points that you're going to cover. That's literally what majority of people on YouTube, in the educational space anyway, do, and it's because it works. Scripting the whole YouTube video could take so much time and energy that it's actually not worth it, especially if you're not an experienced copywriter. So that's the exact framework. If I wanted to grow my business on YouTube, that's exactly what I would do. Focus on the performance of my channel and make sure that it's optimized for business performance, optimized for attention. Make sure you can get as much attention as possible, and of course there's tactics to make sure that you get the attention but also nurture it. Make sure you focus on embedding your identity into your channel, because at the end of the day, it's a personal brand, and if they can relate to you, they can trust you, they can like you, they will want to buy from you. And lastly is dedication. You need to dedicate yourself to the cause. I remember I did a talk, and the first question I asked is, who's been posting on YouTube at least once a week for 3 months? Only one hand went up, and this was a room full of 30 plus people. Only one person has been posting a video every single week for 3 months, and you're expecting to see results. The other people, how can you expect to see results if you haven't even been consistent and dedicated yourself to the cause? Anyway, with that being said, catch you guys in the next video. There's probably one you should click on the screen right now, and yeah.